It started with favor. Joseph had saved Egypt. His family was honored, welcomed, respected. But time passed. A new pharaoh rose who didn't care about Joseph or his story. He saw the Israelites multiplying, strong, prosperous, and he got scared. Fear turned into control. Let's oppress them before they overpower us, Pharaoh said. So Egypt turned on them. Hard labor, cruel treatment, slavery. But the more Pharaoh crushed them, the more they multiplied, the more they grew. God's hand wasn't gone. So Pharaoh got desperate. He commanded something unthinkable. Every Hebrew baby boy, kill him. But God was already moving. Two brave midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, refused. We fear God, not Pharaoh. They lied to save lives, and God honored them for it. Evil was rising, but so was courage. And out of that darkness, a child would soon be born, one who would confront kings. This was only the beginning. The Exodus was coming.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this beautiful Tuesday morning here at Wake Up Different. What happens when God starts blessing you? That's what we're all looking for. And the system gets nervous. Exodus 1 shows us something powerful. Israel multiplies. They prosper, they grew. And the moment they grew, oppression began. Sometimes the resistance in your life is the proof that God is moving you. This is Wake Up Different.
Well, good morning and welcome to Wake Up Different podcast. This is your host, Jose, and this is my co-host, Noel. And one thing I forgot to bring to this morning is my glasses. I forgot my glasses this morning. I didn't want to go back into the room downstairs and wait and bother everybody else while I'm walking and rouse up the dog and for her to go crazy and stuff like that. But I'm going to do my best to read the best I can today. Well, welcome to Wake Up Different podcast. This is your host again, and this is my co-host, Noel. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, we're in it right now. We are in Exodus, Noel. Are you excited for the 24th week of our Bible study?
Yes, sir.
How excited are you? I mean, are you really
Very
excited?
excited to start a new book, a different story.
A great book. And I want to do a shout out for my brother Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike, for supporting us.
Yes, thanks, Mike.
Financially. I'm putting you out there, and you probably didn't want me to do that, but thank you for your financial support to keep the podcast going, because it does take money and finances besides time to do this. So I really, really appreciate that. And I am going to let people know that without your help, we would not have been able to continue broadcasting the way we've been broadcasting.
Yep, so took us to another level.
And if Noel, anybody want to incite that they may want to do that, support us.
You know what? I should bring that up. I should send a message to my fellas, to my Feed the Homeless community. This is another chapter from that. I don't think that, that's the only thing we could do is to help and do God's work.
Yep, that's correct. I appreciate that. So anybody, if you listen, any dollars, anything you got in your heart, if you want to participate with us, because we are growing, our studies are growing, but we really want to provide you with a complete package. We don't just want to do these little videos and stuff like that. This teaching is awesome, but we want these teachings to go out to people so that when they see it right away, they just want to listen to it. They want to plug into it. And because God's going to work in their life. I know that God's going to work on their life. And I'm sure we don't really need money or anything like that to really do stuff. But unfortunately, it takes finances to do the work that's being done. So if you're able to help us, you could just ask me, DM, hey, how can I help? Whatever, like Mike, he zelled us. Thank you, Mike. Without even asking.
Thank you, bro.
Did it. I really, really appreciate that. So I figured I'd say, you know what? Let me ask. I know God provides no matter what. But anyway, thank you for the introduction. We're going into Exodus chapter 1, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to read Exodus chapter 1, verses 1 through 7. Then we're going to read Exodus chapter 1, verses 8 to 14. Then we will read Exodus chapter 1, verses 15 to 22. I'm going to go ahead and cover Exodus 1 through 7, Noel, and then you're going to cover Exodus 1 verses 8 through 14. All right. And then I'll go back to 15:22. And the way we're going to do is we're going to do, as I do Exodus 1 through 7, I'm going to teach the word on those verses. And then once I'm done with that section, you go ahead and read Exodus chapter 1, verses 8 to 14. Then after you're done, I'll do the next teaching. There are some questions that I have for you. And these are the questions that you're going to be thinking about yourself as you're listening to us as well. So I hope that you guys are ready to roll. So guys, we are here. We are ready. This is Exodus. This is the story for all of us. The reason why it's a story for all of us is because, and my dog's crying. I'm sorry. And the story is for us because, hey, we all have a story of Exodus. Like we've all been. If you have Jesus Christ in your life, we've all been delivered. Okay, we've all been delivered. So let's get into the story. Let's get into the word. Let's make this happen. And I think I'm gonna have to do, because I didn't bring my glasses up here. So I'm gonna have to read my Bible from my phone. So bear with me when I do that. Anyway, let's go. Much better. Much better. Okay. So these are the names of the sons of Israel who came to Egypt with Jacob, each with his household: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. All the descendants of Jacob were 70 persons. Joseph was already in Egypt. Then Joseph died, and all his brothers, and all that generation. But the people of Israel were fruitful and increased greatly. They multiplied and grew exceedingly strong, so that the land was filled with them. So, out of 70 people, Noel, 70 people, these people started multiplying into definitely over 1 million people.
Wow.
Imagine 70 people.
They all related.
They're all related, but 70 people are multiplied to over 1 million people. And I think it's more than that. Okay. In a small town of Goshen, which belonged to Egypt. And these are the folks that, remember the Pharaoh that before he died and Joseph died, they were taking care of the livestock, their own livestock, and the livestock of Egypt. Because the rest of Egypt were agriculturally type of people, okay? So here we see that God utilized this I could say this salvation when Joseph saved his people from the famine. He utilized this time, right? They utilized this time to thank you for those that are joining us. We got people joining us left and right. Just want to let you know that, Noel. Thank you for you guys joining us. Craig, thank you for joining us. God bless you, brother, up there in Boston, my boy, Boston. All right. So here we got these people are just multiplying in power. But there's a new king who did not know Joseph. Okay. This is powerful, right? The reason why this is powerful, okay, there's a memory of the memory of their deliverance, of Egypt's deliverance, has faded. Like, don't you remember it was Joseph, a Hebrew, who was a slave, who was now a governor over these many, many years ago, that saved Egypt and saved the rest of the world? How can you forget what this man has done and then turn around and want to mistreat his family? All they're doing is growing. All they're doing is multiplying, and they're actually supporting the ecosystem of livestock in Egypt. Because I want you guys to understand, as I read the scriptures, you got to put yourself in this situation. And you got to put yourself, like, who's the audience that Moses is writing to when he wrote this, when God inspired Moses to write this? What was going on? So Moses, and then by being led by the Holy Spirit, is trying to explain to the people of Israel what has happened and why are we here today in that moment in time when he wrote it. When a generation forgets what God has done, culture fills the vacuum. When a generation forgets what God has done, culture fills the vacuum. This is what's happening with us today in our country. Because our nation was founded on godly biblical principles. The moment you start taking the Bible from school and prayer from school and out of the culture, we have a vacuum. And that vacuum is this right now. And I think I lost Noel. Come back. All right. So there was a spiritual amnesia that leads to oppression. And here's the question that I have for you guys. How does a society forget its deliverance? How does a society forget its deliverance? Remember, when the U.S. was founded, right, on these biblical principles, the fathers of this nation was escaping a tyranny, a kingdom that was trying to oppress its nation. So when they came here, they came to be free and to serve the God Almighty in their freedom, which is why we have the great United States of America. Okay. In Egypt, right, Joseph was the one that God utilized to save Egypt and to save the people of Israel. But yet, it seems here as they grew in numbers, Pharaoh forgot about Joseph. Did not even know Joseph. I mean, the story wasn't told. Which, let's go in verse 8. Now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, behold, the people of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply. And if war breaks out, they join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land. I want to pause there. Behold, the people of Israel are too many and too mighty for us. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply. And if war breaks out, they join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land. There was a couple of concerns that Pharaoh had. Number one, they seemed to be starting to outnumber the people of Egypt. I don't think they did, but they seemed to scale in that way. And he says, at the rate that they're going right now, before they know it, they'll take over us. Okay? Because these were hardworking folks and they understood the principles of procreation and who God was. But here's the thing. Not only was he concerned about them growing, he was concerned that eventually they'll join with other nations, right, to destroy the nation in Egypt. Isn't that something that's similarly being concerned for our nation today? That we have the enemy within, that numbers are maybe multiplying because they're trying to take over this nation. I mean, so the idea the Pharaoh had is no different than the idea that is being thought about today in our present government and many people's thoughts. Just think about that, okay? But Pharaoh is not only worried about that they will outgrow them in number, he also was concerned that if they outgrow them and join the enemies and fight us, that they will escape from that land. See, he had no problem with them being in the land because they served their needs. He just didn't want them to outgrow them, fight them, destroy Egypt, and then leave. Apparently, there must have been a buzz or a message going around the camp of Goshen, going around the people of Israel, of the promise of God, saying that we have a promised land that we need to return to. We have a promised land that we need to return to, a promise that was given to Abraham, a promise that was given to Isaac, a promise that was given to Jacob, a promise that was given to the 12 tribes of Israel, a promise that Joseph said that when you go back home, you take my bones and take me back. So they had that promise within them. They just didn't have a leader to lead them out because they were comfortable in their growth. They were comfortable in the stuff that God has provided them in that land, but God's saying, no, it's time to go. But they never got up and go. So now comes the oppressor. Now comes a leader that God allows to be empowered, and that God allows him to forget the promises and the deliverance that Joseph provided, and brings these thoughts into this mind, his own selfish thoughts of a king. And this is what he decides to do. Therefore, they set tax masters over them to afflict them with happy burdens. They built for Pharaoh store cities, Pithom, and Ramesses. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and the more they spread abroad. And the Egyptians were in dread of the people of Israel. Now, not only was this causing an issue for the king, now the people of Pharaoh are listening to what this king is thinking and saying. Now they're also being in a distasteful outlook of these neighbors, of these people in Goshen that are now working as slaves in the land. So they ruthlessly made the people of Israel work as slaves and made their lives bitter with harsh service in mortar and brick, and in all kinds of work in the field. In all their work, they ruthlessly made them work as slaves. So you can see the development here that basically Pharaoh and his people utilized the people of Israel as slaves to build brick and mortar. If you have not been to Egypt or seen pictures of Egypt, you've seen these pyramids, you've seen these everything that's made out of mortar, a pit, and so forth. So, and do you imagine that people are saying, how did these pyramids were built? How these structures were built? Well, Israel had some part in that, not all of it, but Israel did have a major part of that, building those things. And in verse 15, it says, then King Egypt said to Hebrew midwives, one of whom who named Shiphrah and the other Puah, when you serve as a midwife to the Hebrew woman and see them on the birth stool, if it is a son, you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, you shall live. She shall live. But the midwives feared God and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but let the male children live. So the king of Egypt called the midwives and said to them, why have you done this? And let the male children live. The midwives said to Pharaoh, and this was a lie, but we'll get into that in a minute. But the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife comes to them. So God dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very strong. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, every son that is born to the Hebrews, you should not cast into the Nile. You shall cast into the Nile, but you should let every daughter live. There's a lot of stuff going on here. And I want to try to break this down as best as possible and bring it to today. Okay. Pharaoh, seeing that the people are multiplying, so let me reduce the numbers. And how do we reduce the numbers? Number one, we attack the male. We attack masculinity. We attack the man of God, the man that God has formed on this earth. We attack what keeps the family together. And let me tell you, this is exactly this systematic mental state of this Pharaoh and the Egyptians, but it led from Pharaoh, was a spiritual demonic attack on the masculinity of the nation of Israel. And not only the nation of Israel, his own people as well. Because if you're thinking that way, you probably think about that as well for your own people. Because if you don't know history, right, the pharaohs in that time, they castrated a lot of actually leaders and kingdoms back then. They castrated the men, and I forgot what they called them when they were made, but maybe somebody can remind me, can put a comment on there and say this is what it was, but I forgot what they were called. There's a name for them. But they castrated these men because a lot of times they would take care of their wives and their daughters and all the things, and they didn't want their wives to have sexual relationship with their servants. Okay. So this was a masculinity attack. Today in our nation, okay, masculinity is on an uprise, an attack on masculinity, right? And let me tell you, God made men for a reason. God made fathers for a reason. See, men, we carry the seed. We carry the very gift that continues to keep giving. We got the seed in ourselves that continue to multiply. Now, keep in mind, Pharaoh did not have a problem with the daughters, because in their thoughts was, well, the women have eventually have our children. But apparently they don't understand how the Jewish way works. What makes a child Jewish is not of the father, even though he carries the seed, it's the mother. Because remember, it's the mother, Mary, that bore the Son of God, who takes away the sins of the world. This was an attack not only on masculinity, it was an attack to prevent the coming Messiah. The coming Messiah, which eventually going to be Jesus Christ. But before the Jesus Christ, the real Messiah came, there was going to be a preeminent Messiah type, prophet type, Moses. See, the enemy, Satan, knew this. Satan knows the plans that God has. And Cuzzo is back. Got your back, Cuzzo.
Me too. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well. So Noel, the Pharaoh was killing the male boys and trying to take them out of their system. But when he gave this order to the midwives, check this out, the midwives feared God, number one. They knew God. They knew of God. They had a fear for God. So they, even though it was a command by a government official, a king, they did not do what the king said. Because what the king was telling them to do was definitely contrary to what God expect them to do. So they lied. Now, does God say we are to lie? No. But the reason why they lied was because of fear of God, was to hide the truth from someone that did not honor God. So sometimes God would allow us to be wise like serpents, because serpents are very deceitful. To be wise like serpent, not to tell somebody something. It's, for instance, let's say you are out there in the mission field, Noel, and you're out there bringing Bibles in the underground church, right? And providing food in the underground church. And a Chinese official stops you and says, hey, what do you have there?
I'm in trouble.
I have children's books. Yeah, and they're in Spanish because I'm teaching Spanish to these Chinese people. Do you want to learn Spanish? And then the person's like, oh, really? Is that what you're doing? Yeah. Oh, I thought you were giving out Bibles. No. This is just Spanish books. You lied because you're preventing them from realizing that you're doing something for God. Because you know that their laws is you cannot be providing Bibles to them. Okay. And there's a lot of countries that don't allow the Bible. Okay. So that's just an example that these midwives stood on, and they did not do what they were supposed to do. Now, here's the other thing. Not only were they, just like this culture today has been trying to destroy masculinity, uh, he told them to kill the boys when they were born. If it's a female, you let them live. If it's a male, if you see as a male, immediately you kill
Why?
them
Why would he want to do that? Why the male?
because they can't produce.
So he just he didn't want production.
They don't want production. Now, guess what? Doesn't want production. This culture that has walked away from God doesn't want reproduction, especially reproduction of colored folk. Because when abortion was instituted here and pushed upon in the United States of America,
Say it.
it was placed in what we call considered poverty areas or the ghetto, the
It was
Black
for us.
community, the
For the
Hispanic
Black,
community.
Hispanic, yep. It was for us to get rid of us.
It was to get rid of it. They didn't care about male or female. Just if they don't want a baby, we don't want to take care of them. That's what they thought. We can help them take care of them, which our welfare system is broken, and I'm sure we take care of more what we have to take care of. Okay, and because if at least let's keep them on the welfare state so that they have no empowerment within themselves to be the very men and women that God has called them to be. So let the government take care of them. So if the government wants to take care of you, what they want to do is not take care of you by having you being aborted.
Yeah.
Because it is the government that provides Planned Parenthood the finances to get this done. Much like it was the finances of Egypt that provided the finances to these midwives to do the very jobs that they perform. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see the connection here?
Yeah.
So this is a diabolical movement in the spirit realm of Satan. This is the work of demons. And what's happening in our nation today is no different than was happening back then. They did not want to let the less, I could say the poor people, these poor shepherds, these poor animal farmers, these disgusting people, they smell all the time. We don't want them to continue to grow. We want them to continue to work for us. We want them to take care of our stuff. I want you to still build houses for us. I still want you to work at the hotel. I still want you to clean the toilets in the bathrooms in where we live at, where we sleep at, where we take a dump at. We still want that. We want you to take care of our little children, while we make the millions, but you're not going to get papers. You'll continue to be an illegal migrant. You still be our slave. It's not that I am for or against immigration, whatever, illegal immigration. It's not that. You know what I'm against? I'm against people abusing power of the innocents because they don't know better. I have people working for me that are immigrants, and they have papers though. They're here legally.
And they're nervous.
And they're nervous, right? And just because they come from another country and so forth, doesn't mean I pay them less than I would pay someone that is here as a citizen. Cousin, you know that, right?
Absolutely.
But I know there's people out there.
Jose pays good.
I pay good though. Don't call me up for a job. I don't have any work right now. Not yet. I like to take care of I take care of my guys.
Yes, he does. Not only with that, I've called you and you've been at dinners, lunches,
yes,
with them and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. So God knows my heart, and I'm sure a lot of people out there, you take care of your workers and stuff like that. But listen, just like what Pharaoh was doing here, that same spirit, unfortunately, is in our government as well. They want to destroy, first of all, our manhood. We as men. There is a false teaching that has entered into our church, right? That came through the movement of feminism and has destroyed the ideology of what is the position of women in the body of Christ. You see, men, we are to lead our households. Men, we are to serve our families. And our women are supposed to serve your husband, serve the man in your life, the man of God. Our sisters are supposed to be similar to Sarah, who called Abraham Lord. But unfortunately, I know there are women that will respect their boss or whoever God has placed in their position of power more than they will respect their own husband. You will get up in the morning to go to work, right? To go serve for that paycheck.
Am I losing you again?
No, I hear you. That paycheck, to serve that paycheck. But when your husband needs your active servant in his life, you complain. You take things upon him. You tear him down. Some women have gotten to the point, Noel, that not only are they tearing their men down, they're being physical and hitting the men. And that is not so. The man should not lay the hands on a woman, and neither should women lay hands on a man because they're a guy. That is because you have lost respect because of this message of the destruction of masculinity, right? In this country, in this culture. I'm not just going to say country, in this culture. This is why we have more men who have transgendered into trying to be a woman when God has called them to be a man. That is why the feminist is quiet about this whole situation. Because the point of attack is, let's continue to take attack to the image of God, which is men. You see, Pharaoh had no idea who God was. Pharaoh had no idea that we were created in his image. So that is why it was so easy for him to try to kill the male child. Because Pharaoh thought himself, among the 100 gods that he served, that he himself was a god. So when we read the book of Exodus, this is a historical book. It's something that really happened. But like I've said before on this podcast, Noel, history tends to repeat itself. The ideas and the thoughts of men continue to repeat themselves because we are dealing with the same demonic enemy, which is Satan. He has not changed. He is the same enemy. He is the enemy right now of the church. And the less men of God that can be produced in this world, in this nature, in this culture, the more damage he can do. So this is why I tell men, and this is important to women, honor the man that God has placed in your life. Pray for the man that God has placed in your life. Serve the man that God has placed in your life. It's important. And I say this to the man, man, love the wife that God has given you. Provide for the wife that God has given you. Be the man, be the leader, be the father that God has called you to be. Read the word of God in the household. Speak the word of God to your children. And not only speak it, live it. Let them see day by day that you're living the word of God every day before your children and before your wife. That they are without excuse. That when they are in their flesh or when they're being trying to be oppressed by demonic forces, that they recognize and saying, "Get thee behind me, Satan." You know, that they recognize that this attitude that they have of a woman, that they're blaming hormones. And I'm not saying hormones don't do these things to women, but when they allow the hormones to be infiltrated not only through their physical body, but also by spiritual demonic forces that are oppressing you, and you lash it out on your husband, do you know the damage that you're doing to your household? If you take down the man in your house, you're taking down the house with you. And that's not what I say. That's what the word of God says. A wise woman raises a house. These midwives were wise women because they feared God. They did not fear the culture. They did not fear what other people thought about them. They did not fear their boss. They feared God. So the question is, who you as a woman do you fear? And the question to men is, who you as a man, who do you honor? You're probably saying, man, we're talking about exes. What are we talking about? Marriage and masculinity and all and abortion. Because that's exactly what's happening here. An attack on masculinity. An attack on immigrants. Keep them slaves. Keep them illegal. Keep them in bondage. And not only that, let's kill their babies. Let's abort them. We don't need them to have babies. We need them to just work for us, to serve our needs, because I have to go be busy, make Hollywood films for people to be filled with nonsense that they call entertainment. I don't know what people call entertainment today, because what I see today is not entertainment. It's garbage. Complete garbage. I don't know what people call music today. I had this great conversation with my son yesterday. I'm like, son, we've taught you what you should be listening to. Now, I'm not going to tell you what you're going to listen to. It's by your choice. And he comes back to me with that. You watch secular movies. And I said, let me tell you something. Number one, I don't watch as many secular movies as I used to be. Number one, I've come away from that. And I tell you right now, never did I let you watch any kind of nonsense. I made sure that when you watch something, it was not going to be nonsense. I mean, it was still nonsense, but not the nonsense that's out there. And the music that I listen to, you've seen me listen to, and you've paid attention while I drove with you, was never crap. I don't care if it was my culture's music, whatever. I always try to make sure I listen to the right thing. And you and I know, I talked about this yesterday when you talked to your dad, that we know that the music industry is infiltrated with demonic forces.
You gotta be part of it to make it.
And actually, there's a story in the book of Exodus when we get there. When we get there, there's going to be talking about secular music. What God considers secular music. It's in the book of Exodus. Just like right now we talk about the death of babies. It's not a fetus. These are babies that we're aborting. Not fetuses, not a clump of cells. There's a living soul in the womb of a woman. The moment there's a heartbeat, there's a living soul there. And that image is of God. And every man, every male child is a reflection of the glory of our Father. When the world destroys that, you're trying to destroy the very thing that God said that he saw it and saw that it was good. I know we're in Exodus chapter 1, but this is the attack by Pharaoh being used by Satan that God placed in power. We're going to learn that. God placed this Pharaoh in power in this very time. And he did the very things that he tried to do. That is today's word for the day. Don't know. Noel, put some music in the background. Can I try to do that? I don't know if I can do that. It's not working for me. Ay.
You froze on my end.
I froze on your end? Yeah, I know. I'm
you're
trying
back.
to. No, I'm there. Every time I switch my screen on here. Anyway, I hope this message spoke to us today. I hope you understand what I'm trying to get with here. The story of Exodus is powerful. It's just amazing. Let us just keep the daughter alive. That's how it ends that chapter. That's how it ends in that chapter. At least Pharaoh recognized two genders, unlike our culture today. But anyway, Noel, any final words?
You want me to say some final words?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Speak on what you just heard,
brother. You know, it's definitely everywhere. We definitely in a spiritual warfare. Everywhere I go, a new church that I went to this weekend, it was like what we're speaking about now. It's like everything I'm seeing online that comes across, you know, the podcasts that I watch about God, Jesus, and stuff like that. And it's like everyone is saying the same message. Everybody's like on the same page in sync from 3 hours away to here to you're 5 hours away, 6 hours to Mike in Jersey. We all hearing the same message. So if you're not listening, that's a problem because you're not being aware. Just like people right now are not. I can't believe people have no idea what's going on with Iran. Like I tried to speak to someone yesterday. They were like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? What I mean?" Like some people are so into this matrix, so much into what was it that something ultra back in the day? I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name. What they did to the humans is experimenting, MK Ultra, whatever. Hollywood, all of this. Look at Shia LaBeouf. We were talking about him earlier. I had a question about him, you know, and stuff like that. But it's everywhere, guys, and revive. He's coming. He's definitely coming. I'm almost 50, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I've never felt this way. I've never heard the message this way. I've never seen so many things going on so fast. I mean, we were in a war with when Bush set it on Saddam. How long was that war, Jose? It was over 10 years, right?
Yeah, it was in 2011, 2001. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
2001.
To what? 11, 12?
Something like that. Yeah.
This, you know, we with the assistance of Israel and other countries knocked out 50 of their number one guys in the first 3 days. Like, you know, no president has done things like this. Sank all their ships, you know, and people don't know this is going on. They're clueless. People, I don't know if it's real. Somebody put a video of a missile going over Miami. It could happen. Cuba's right there. There's a Russian submarine chilling right on Cuba's dock.
Yeah.
You know,
And
it's right there.
And that was a fact that probably won't tell you anyway.
They're not telling you, but it's right there. They can hit Miami and split of a second. It's gone. And more. But they're not talking about it because everybody will go nuts. Everybody has to dig in. This is all goes back to what we're learning right now in the Bible. There's plenty of stories in the Bible that talk about disasters like this, wars and stuff like that. And let's not point the fingers. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, it's amazing how I read Exodus here, and you see the thought pattern of a king saying, "Hey, these people are multiplying, and what happens if these people turn on us and they join hands with our enemies, right, to overturn a country?" Right? His thoughts. I'm not saying his thoughts were wrong, because that's what people did. They infiltrated into countries and took over. So that same systematic mentality, right? It's here in our country. We got the Muslims that are multiplying in numbers, and they don't care if the infidel is aborting their babies, right? They don't care.
They push for that. They vote for that, but they won't do that themselves. They won't do that themselves, guys. Think about this. The Muslims will vote left. Again, I don't want to get into it, but they vote that way, which is what pushes all these agendas, but they won't do it themselves.
Yep.
Let that one sink in, guys. Let that one sink in.
So that they could take over. And there, as you can see, the mayor of New York City,
I'm disgusted.
Mecca, right? The one that got shot down by these folks. The
24 years ago, they knock out buildings.
And now you have a mayor, and then they got the Quran being read from at their breakfasts and meals and stuff like that. So
Irish cops, you saw Irish cops reading it. What is going on here for the check?
You need to wake up.
Good job,
people. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. I'm not saying we do what Pharaoh says. Kill these. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, but we let him know that spirit is here in this country right now. And that's what's happening, little by little, dissecting by dissecting. They're dissecting our nation. And guess who's gonna be the one they're gonna go after? It's gonna be the church.
Oh, they're already doing it.
And they're gonna do it, but they're gonna do it in a point. Now, here's the thing. Just like you have ICE officers doing what they're doing, right? That's just a example.
That's letting us
see what's going to happen.
What's going to be the
not
norm?
To immigrants.
That's going to be the norm,
but
guys.
to the church.
Thank you, Jose, for saying that. That is true.
It's just.
We're getting desensitized to it. If that's the right word? Did I say the right word? Desensitized.
Yeah, desensitized. It's
basically
that's
what they're doing.
Right. And you break down and you say, well, we did it to the immigrants. Now we're going to do it to
American felons. It's going to start with the
Christians.
Felons.
Because of them. Because of them, the Christian believers, which a majority voted for this. If you don't want this to happen again, we need to get rid of the Christians. It's coming, guys.
It's here.
It's already here.
Right? We got to stop it. We got to cut it where it's at.
In here today, in our own country.
Look at Texas, Austin, Texas. I bet you half of you don't know. They
let me ask you, how many people are procreating in the church?
There's babies in the church I went to yesterday. A lot of babies were crying.
We need to be having babies, guys. We need to be growing up. We need to have children. Sex up, guys.
I did my work for society. I got 3.
I wish I was young enough. I'll probably have more kids, my wife.
Oh, my Lord.
I will have 10 more.
Do dogs count?
The dogs don't count. This is what the problem is today. We want to have dogs.
People want to have. What is it with that?
Dog ain't gonna preach the gospel, guys. So you need to get married, get busy, enjoy the sex that God has given us as a gift, and have children, godly children. Because that's what the enemy's doing on the other side. So be ready. Anyway, take care. God bless. Enjoy your Tuesday. This is the 24th week, second day of the 24th week. Chapter
Mhm.
1 of Exodus. Tomorrow we go Exodus chapter 2. Let's see what's going to be there tomorrow. Take care. God bless.
Later, guys. Peace.